We are live.
Dr. Chintan, over to you.
Okay, good afternoon and good morning, everybody. It's a great pleasure to be here for signing of this exciting SOI with GIZ. I was looking at the programs that you run, and I thought that's very timely, as well as very nicely positioned for a very important challenge. I was just thinking about, thinking about the women and entrepreneurship. I think, as you may already know, just to share with everyone, what we are seeing is that, see, within Atal Innovation Mission's own incubation centers, there are 68 of them. There are some 2,600 startups, and over 750 or so are women startups. So that's now. The question is like how to think about this number, right? Is this something to celebrate or something to not yet celebrate, or what is the what are we wanting? And I was just asking myself a question this morning that if one looks for like one of the topics that has interested me quite a bit is not entrepreneurship in conventional sense of like creating businesses alone, but in the sense of being entrepreneurial, right? Like I see that there are lots of bureaucrats I know who are, they're smaller in number, but they're still there, who are very entrepreneurial. Lots of teachers, very entrepreneurial, although they are not really in the conventional sense of the word entrepreneur. And I feel that some of the most natural entrepreneur are mothers, right? They assume a lot of risk for gathering, managing, organizing resources for those they care for. And so then obviously the subsequent question is, if that's the case, then why do we need something specific for that is women focused if they are natural entrepreneurs? But then it also feels like as something happens in terms of how we organize ourselves, that we tend to forget that bit. And it becomes harder for women, I think. That's very clear. I mean, I was telling somebody that if you imagine life as a game of snakes and ladders, as a woman, you have more snakes. So you go down, you have lots of ways to go down then. And so in that, and all of that considered, I think this is a very important program, because in very subtle ways, I feel that women have a harder time being an entrepreneur. And so ideally, that number of 750 out of 2,600 would be 1,300 out of 2,600, right? If we went for exactly equal numbers. And so I think this, we're very excited about somebody like GIZ, so capable, coming and partnering with us to take our incubators through to sort of demystify this idea of being sensitive to gender, because I think in principle everybody may agree, but in process, exactly how to do it and steps to do it, that demystification is really vital. And so as when difficult questions arise, there's something to fall back on, because you have now thought about it, you have learned about it, and so on. Thank you very much for this collaboration and opportunity to work with you. Also, apologies for um, um, standing you up the last time you were here. It wasn't at all intended, or just, but I got pulled into something beyond my control and we couldn't meet. But here we are. One last thing that I must mention is that I really like the word dhriti in your description, because I think dhriti is a very special, very technical term in Sanskrit, which many of you know about. But it's perhaps the only term in Sanskrit that means both a motivation and forward propulsion put together. So that's a nice term for the work that you are envisioning. So once again, great to be here. Thanks a lot.
Thanks, Dr. Chintan, for those enlightening words. Let's move to Ms. Julia Cast, who is the head of project Her and Now. Over to you, Julia.
Thank you so much. First of all, good afternoon, everyone. Good afternoon, Dr. Chintan, and thank you so much for the warm words that you've just spoken. I'm equally excited about this partnership and to be here and announcing it today. As Anurag said, I'm the head of the project Her Now in India, which is a bilateral Indo-German project promoting women entrepreneurship in India since 2018. What we've done so far is we've piloted and tested and successfully implemented what we call incubation acceleration support programs for women entrepreneurs across 12 states of India. And Nidhi here from RITU is one of our key partners, implementing partners in these programs in all of Northeast. And what we've seen in these programs, incubation means we've supported women to start their own enterprises, and acceleration helped women entrepreneurs scale up their existing businesses. And what we've seen, I think, in our work since 2018 is that, as you, Dr. Chintan, said very rightly, that there are very specific barriers that women face when it comes to establishing and running an enterprise. And that means that programs which work with entrepreneurs need to take those into account, and I think need to be designed in a special way so as to be as effective for women as for men. And Nidhi is going to talk us through, I think, some of the specifics of what that means and what our training that we've developed based on our experiences then looks like. Yes, that being said, the big goal of this project, of this Her Now project, is to improve the framework conditions and for women entrepreneurs, and to create a more level playing field in India. And I'm super excited about this partnership because the Atal Innovation Mission is the prime and flagship scheme of the government of India for incubation of startups and entrepreneurs across the country. I think your reach, across the country in terms of the 68 incubators that are already on board and all the startups that are being supported is unparalleled, as well as the quality, I think, that your incubation services provide to the entrepreneurs. So to be able to work with you on introducing more gender sensitive elements, let's say, to the curriculum that you already have is, I think, yes, an unparalleled chance, I think, at making a really big impact in India for women entrepreneurs. And I'm very, very happy to be partnering with you and really look forward to the next year. I'll leave it at that and hand over, I think, back to Anurag and then Nidhi to explain more about the training and the collaboration. Thank you.
Thanks, Julia. Thanks for championing such a huge cause and such a, at the appropriate time. Moving on to the next bit, I'd like to call upon Miss Nidhi Gupta now to explain more about the Wincubate training module. Over to you, Nidhi.
Thank you. Thank you, Anurag. Good afternoon, everyone. And it's really exciting. I'm sure Julia is having the same feelings right now. It's very exciting to be here. It's almost like we've hit a milestone in this journey. And I'm also very happy to share this space with the AICSKU and AIC Nalanda team. We were actually, me and Durga Prasad were supposed to meet today in person, but we are meeting virtually. So I'm really excited because we are seeing some of the things in action, and some of the things, fructifying. Those were just ideas a few months back. So Just what Dr. Chintan said when he opened the session, yes, there are snakes and ladders in all entrepreneurs' lives, and gender-centric programs do attempt to understand the snakes a little more, the snakes that women entrepreneurs experience. I think Wincubate is also about understanding the new ladders or the specific ladders that women actually possess, but sometimes they get hidden or they get missed because we are used to understanding ladders in a certain way. So I think beautifully put, Dr. Chintan, and these snakes and ladders, understanding them from a woman's perspective is what I think the program is also attempting to do. So very quickly, I will try and share what the program is really all about. Why we thought of this program, why this program is needed at all, what is the problem that it tries to solve. So the incubation ecosystem in India right now, thankfully, fortunately, we are all looking to be more gender equitable, more gender sensitive, and which provides a wonderful platform for programs like these to, in any case, be created and evolve. The first step I think that we are already taking as an ecosystem is wanting to increase the number of women applicants in all our cohorts. And this is something I heard even during the trainings. But in many cases, what is still happening is women entrepreneurs are being looked at as one monolithic group, one homogeneous. Women applicants, women entrepreneurs means one big definition, which is we all know it's not the case. So one size fits all approach doesn't work. And that's what the program is also trying to bring forth. How do you create a space for solution providers like the incubators in the Atal Innovation Mission ecosystem? How do you create those tools for solution providers to develop solutions which are very context specific for the women entrepreneurs that they work with? Another problem that does exist, and programs like Wincubate would want to address those challenges, is not superimposing existing solutions to a woman entrepreneur's context. Just because it has worked for another context, whether it's gender or any other context, just because it has worked somewhere else, let's not superimpose it on a woman entrepreneur. Let's design something that works for her. Also, there is low representation of women in various kinds of spaces, including incubator organizations, which sometimes gives us or limits us from understanding the snakes and ladders, the deep-rooted biases, and the needs, more specifically, of the women entrepreneurs. So keeping all this in mind, there was a need for a gender-focused framework that could address these critical gaps in the business support that was being provided to women entrepreneurs, enabling them to truly thrive in their businesses and in their lives as entrepreneurs. The program, who does it work with or who does it engage with? Primarily, it engages with incubator organizations or incubators, like we say. And it helps organizations adapt to gender-sensitive approaches to venture creation and growth, and helps incubator organizations design more women-centric support programs. Through that, it works directly with incubator teams or incubation managers, helping them also challenge their personal stereotypes. We're all human beings after all, so we come with our own baggages, our own experiences. The program also helps them challenge their own stereotypes, develop their own skills or own competencies, and reimagine our roles as change agents and not just as service providers to entrepreneurs. And eventually, through this whole chain and through this whole process, it works with the women entrepreneurs indirectly, with the women entrepreneur community, in helping them access support programs that weren't just opened up for them because there was a new agenda in the ecosystem, but programs which were designed for them, keeping them in mind. So that's how we define or how we envisage the larger group for whom this program is being created. So what does it do? It does provide knowledge and understanding of gender-sensitive approaches to women-centric incubation, and helps integrate those approaches in general incubation processes, because we understand incubator organizations are already experts at providing incubator services. So how does this new information get embedded in what is already happening? The program also provides very specific, workable, practical tools and methods to measure as well as to embed these gender issues in the incubation processes. It's a template-based approach so that each and every one of us, all the incubator organizations who go through this program are able to design contextual and relevant solutions. It is not something that's imposed onto the entire ecosystem, like I said, not a one-size-fits-all approach. Also, multiple alternatives available in terms of trying to suit the need, the available time, the cohort sizes, the social context, the different geographies. So incubator organizations work with all these different kinds of variables, and hence the program has been created in a modular, giving all different types of alternatives so that we can meet these different kinds of requirements. The program per se is divided into two levels. The first level is the foundation level. It's an 8-hour module that talks about how incubators can initiate, set up women-centric incubation programs, and what are the different elements that will come together to create and run a successful women-centric incubation program. It's like an orientation, it's like an understanding of, if I am going to be leading a women-centric incubation program, what does it actually mean? This is followed by a self-assessment process, which is taken up by the incubator teams outside the training sessions. It helps the incubator teams assess their own readiness of taking up a women-centric incubation program. Readiness in terms of their own organizational capacity, their organizational culture, their team size, their team capacity, the extent of user research that they have already done or are willing to do, and the organizational infrastructure, the systems, the policies that exist within that incubator. Does all of this actually support the running of a woman-centric incubation program, or do we need more inputs, more tweaks, more newer aspects to our existing organization? This self-assessment process is the tool is followed by one-on-one discussions with the incubator teams to help them clarify some thoughts, to help them deepen some of the understanding that they have got, and also to be able to identify the key areas where the incubators will need handholding and support to in the next phase of designing their own women-centric incubation programs. And then finally, the second level of the program, which is the advanced level, which talks about all aspects of, in detail, very comprehensively, talks about all aspects of designing and running a women-centric incubation program, the design, the marketing, the outreach, the actual incubation and acceleration services. How do you make your women entrepreneurs funding ready? Mentoring programs. How do you create mentoring programs that work for women? How do you onboard more women mentors, etc.? And how do you manage a woman-centric incubation program? Do you need specific policies? How does your HR work? How does information systems work? How does the feedback mechanism work? Is there a grievance redressal? So all of this infrastructure, this module talks about. So at the end of the day, the idea is to fully equip an incubator organization to be able to not just design a program that works for their own segment of women entrepreneurs, but also be able to execute it nicely, fully, successfully, and sustain it over a long period of time. I think this was the discussion I personally had with the incubators I was working with in the pilot round about how does this not become the first and the only batch we run, but we continue to run this and increase the number of women entrepreneurs we engage with and support. So that's briefly what Incubate is all about. Back to you, Anurag.
Thanks.
Thanks.
Thanks, Nidhi, for explaining all the various modules of the Incubate program and its nitty-gritties. Now let's move from the trainers to the trainees side. I'd like to call upon AIC Nalanda and AIC SQU to share their experience about the Incubate program and other learnings. First, we'll call upon AIC Nalanda.
Thank you, Anurag, and good afternoon, everyone. Dr. Chintan, Julia, and Nidhi ji. Of course, being in Delhi and getting connected virtually, is doesn't seem something very good, but still have to few concerns. Uh, for AIC Nalanda, this entire program of Wincubate was not just a kind of attempt. It was a very deliberate and thought of process that we were getting into, because if we see the positioning of our incubation center in Odisha, Odisha has enmassively geared up towards women ecosystem in terms of various sectors, where we see that many homemakers, many cluster groups, and everyone has got into this entrepreneurship program. But slowly, or in a way, the incubation activities that needed to be followed after was never there in place. And we, being an Atal incubation center based out of Bhubaneswar, wanted that to figure out those groups of women and women-led enterprises who could come into the incubation center and had the same facilities that other startups do have, though the gender perspective was not very clear at that point of time. So when we started our advanced program with Wincubate, the first thing that we got to learn was about the user group. For us, a women-led enterprise is always someone where the entrepreneur is a woman and is the majority stakeholder of the company. But apart from that, what this program gave us a learning was about the user group, and whether this user group is at the center of the program which is to be designed or not. So that clarity this program provided has helped us a lot in identifying and designing this entire program, which was actually centered around, when Dr. Chintan was saying about the ladders and the snake and ladders thing. I remembered we discussed a lot of examples of certain kinds, and this will of course be added henceforth, where we found that when we talk about this equitable journey of an entrepreneur being a woman, is pretty different, and we term it as difficult, but we don't see the barriers in those senses. And when we talk about barriers for a women entrepreneur, there are multiple layers also connected to it, and these layers and lenses has always been the primary barrier for which our incubation programs might not have been designed the way that they should have taken the women perspective into concern, or the gender perspective into concern. So first, in the quite a lot number of sessions it took us to understand these layerings and these kind of various kind of ceilings that were broken, and then probably we got into very critical nuances of the program, also designing it from various toolkits and templates perspective. And for AIC Nalanda, as I said, it was more about uh, connecting it with the ethos and the ethnicity of the women entrepreneurs in the state. So when we always brought that to the table, it was well addressed. And there's a huge kudos to Nidhi for getting those points properly aligned, properly addressed. Every time we had this one-on-one sessions, we used to see that entire team, as my entire team was part of this program, we saw the difference that was gearing up in terms of understanding. Being incubation centers, our journey doesn't restrict in formulating programs and designing those programs the way that we have created here. We got to know the perspective of addressing a need of an entrepreneur. So that was something which was completely very exciting, and understanding this need of the program helped us actually to look at various other aspects which normally do follow but are neglected for some reason. But when we are dealing with a women, designing a program around women, these things have paramount importance. So that was brought into picture, and I'm very happy to send a word to everyone in the participants and the other audiences who have joined virtually, that AIC Nalanda is going to announce its women-centric incubation program with all the learnings that we had from Incubate program in the mid of April. So we are actually going to implement this, and we are very sure that the kind of effort that was, I would definitely like to put into the entire journey of this Incubate program also, which was very stepwise, and it also started about creating a pipeline of startups, designing the campaigns, which we rarely think of from a very technical and a very procedural manner. But even that was taken care of. So all are great compliments to the organizers, and thank you, Atal Innovation Mission for having AIC Nalanda into this piloting phase, and all those great learnings that we have. We are quite sure and can assure that it's going to make difference in the women entrepreneurial space of Odisha. Thank you.
Thanks, Durga Prasad. It gives us immense pleasure to see, to learn your outcomes and the experiences that you had with this program. Thank you very much. Moving to the next trainee, we'll go to the AIC SKU, Dr. Chandramouli.
Yeah, this is Dr. Shivakiran, CEO of Atal Incubation Center, and I have with me my teammates Dr. Chandramouli and a key implementer of this women-centric incubation program, Shaheen. I can 100% agree with ASC Nalanda. Whatever he has said, it actually reverberates my thoughts as well. This advanced program in this WCA program had several levels, starting with the policy to infrastructure, even to the location of the program, and many layers were dealt in detail, like peeling of the onion. So layer by layer we went. But this program, there was a conscious and deliberate thought process going on in the whole incubation center. As Jiddu Krishnamurti says, every thought is a bias. We already have an inbuilt bias in any program we run, right? So we never thought about how women can be accommodated, why there are certain drops, why there are more failures. So this particular program actually given us a deliberateness. Every thought we do. We went to an extent that I was sitting in some other committee. The first question I was asking is there a woman in this panel? I never asked that question in my life. So that was a deliberateness that is happening. But there were certain concrete outcomes, after joining this program. One was at organizational level. See, we have a board of directors, all of us have, but we don't have, unfortunately, women representative, which we couldn't do much about that. So to balance that, now we started adding more women in the board of advisors so that they can give their perspective, be it a local, NGO head or some scientist, anyone who has that kind of background. We started number of mentors. Now, if it's our mentor portfolio, the women are increasing. So that's we started doing, and to 1.5 year back, the number of startups, the women in our startup portfolio representation was around 30-35%. Now, the new cohort that is coming up in the month of May, where 65% are women. So that why that number hiked up by 30% is because of this program. This program actually drilled us so much into our mind that everywhere we are looking at that perspective, right? And on top of this, we also, Atal Incubation Center test help other colleges and other universities to set up incubation centers. That was one of our models. So in that model, what we found out was there is a lack of incubation managers, incubation associates, or anyone who understand incubation ecosystem. So what we thought is we tied up with an NGO called Adi Foundation, Anantapur Development Initiative, which is an alumni group. We asked us on a team of women, like they have started giving fellowships to women. We call these women as entrepreneur in residence. So 3 women have been given this fellowship for 1 year, where they are part of our team and help us, run programs and structure programs, raise funds, anything that is related to incubation activity. They are trained. So the reason was, if any new college starts incubation centers tomorrow, we can
Dr. Shivakiran,
give them
Dr. Shivakiran, your voice is getting cut. If you can,
hand holding through these
Dr. Shivakiran, if I
girls.
may interject.
Yeah, right. Now,
Yeah,
am
you
I
can
audible?
switch off the video.
Yeah.
Yes, this is much better. Thank you. Please carry on.
How about now? How about now?
Yeah, Dr. Shivakiran, I think it's much better. Please carry on.
Yeah. So likewise, further, we wanted to culminate all these learnings. Thank you. So we want to culminate all our learnings in the form of an EDP program, especially for women. Again, that's where we designed a program called Gramin Abhyuday for young ladies. So again, the TG was so specific that earlier the target groups were very diverse. So this program has given us again that understanding that the groups have to be so specific and very focused, so that the outcomes will be much better. So this time what we are doing is this through this program, Gramin Abhyuday, for young ladies. So we want to choose 30 to 40 women from small towns in Anantapur district and provide them entrepreneurial training program. And fortunately, we have got HDFC CSR grant, and some of the industries from the local Anantapur region have donated us. And we want to use this, at least a major chunk of this money to fund women entrepreneurs. So this way, from policy level to organizational level to structuring programs, we want to deliberately or consciously add this gender sensitive thinking in our programs. So thanks to this is all possible because we could be part of this WCA program, and our gratefulness to AIM and Ishita and Nidhi Gupta and all these teammates, and also a lot of peer learning from other incubators as well. So I appreciate and thank you for that learning. So I would request my teammates to just to video on so that they can see who are our teammates here.
Thanks.
Shaheen and Dr. Chandramoli are my teammates. Yeah, thank you.
Thanks.
Thank you. That's all from my side.
Yeah. Thanks, Dr. Shivakiran, Shaheen, and Dr. Chandramoli. It's great to see that you have not just absorbed the learnings of the program, but you have implemented on your policy level and operational level as well. Very heartening to see that. Moving next, I'd like to call upon Ms. Ishita Agrawal, Program Director for the Ecosystems team, to give the concluding remark. Over to you, Ishita.
Thank you, Anurag. Very good afternoon, everyone. I hope all of you are safe. Gender equality has been it's a part of the DNA of Atal Innovation Mission as well as Niti Aayog. And so anything that we do, we make sure that women are given an equal footing. And so this partnership with GIZ, where all our incubators are trained on empowering women entrepreneurs, I think it is completely and absolutely aligned with everything else that we do, whether it is about helping the girl child to learn coding, or whether it is encouraging more women girl schools to have ATLs, or whether it is about supporting more and more women-based, women-focused incubators. So we are constantly striving to make AIM a better place, and this program fits right in. Make AIM a better place for women entrepreneurs, and this program fits right in. Melinda Gates, who's the co-chair of Bill and Melinda Gates Foundation, had once said that a woman who has a voice is by definition a strong woman. But the search to find that voice can be remarkably difficult. And therefore, I'd like to thank Julia from GIZ and Nidhi and Riti to empower AIM and the AIM supported incubators, not only to be able to find that voice, but also strengthen the voice. And if we have many of such voices coming into the ecosystem, I'm sure we'll have a beautiful symphony coming out of the ecosystem, of the Indian startup ecosystem. And so thank you also to Durga Prasad and Dr. Shiv Kiran and Chandamoli and Shaheen for sharing your experiences. And I'm really, really proud of the fact that we will be able to now take this small training, not from a small group of incubators who were like a pilot batch for us. We'll be able to take it to our entire portfolio of AIM incubators and the community innovation centers that are being set up. So very thank you once again to everyone who's here and who's logged on to this call, and have a good day, everyone. Best of luck.
Thanks. Thanks, Ishita, for those kind words. So we still have a short video prepared by the team to be shared with the larger community. I'll request Julia to share her screen and please project that short
मॉर्निंग।
गुड मॉर्निंग।
सुबह सुबह लैपटॉप चला के बैठ गई।
हाँ, मगर ऑर्डर वगैरह चेक
कर लो। कितने आए हैं सब पे? मैं सुबह देखना पहले।
अंकिता पे 65,
और ऋतुपाल पे
92।
अमेज़न पे भी चेक करना।
हाँ, कर रहा हूँ।
जल्दी आना बेटे, अपने माँ बाप को राम राम का देना।
ये मेरा ससुराल आ गया है। हम लोग यहाँ पे घूंघट डालते हैं, चाहे भाई बाहर हम चाहे चुन्नी ओढ़े ना ओढ़े, लेकिन ये बड़ों के लिए इज्जत का प्रतीक माना जाता था। तो इसलिए हम गांव में चाहे कोई गली में हो चाहे ना हो, लेकिन घूंघट करके ही निकलते हैं। आज मैं बहुत खुश हूँ क्योंकि आज मैं अपने गांव के स्कूल में जा रही हूँ।
ये रितु कौशिक हैं। इन्होंने भी आपकी ही तरह साधनों के अभाव में गांव में रहकर शिक्षा ग्रहण की। इनकी जल्दी ही मैरिज कर दी गई, लेकिन इनके मन में एक जुनून था कि मैंने भी कुछ करना है, आगे बढ़ना है। तो इन्होंने 4 साल पहले अपना एक बिजनेस शुरू किया और इसके साथ आपको इसलिए मिलवाया जा रहा है ताकि आप भी इनसे प्रेरित होकर आप भी जीवन में कुछ आगे बढ़े करें।
मैम, आपने बैग का बिजनेस क्यों किया?
बैग का बिजनेस मैंने इसलिए किया क्योंकि जब मैं छोटी थी तो मैं मार्केट जाती थी अपनी मम्मी के साथ, तो कभी छोटा कभी बड़ा करके मेरा वो शौक था। तो फिर मैंने अपने बैग को, मेरी हॉबी थी बैग कलेक्ट करना, तो मैंने अपनी उसी हॉबी को अपना बैग का बिजनेस बनाया हुआ है।
मैम, आपने कहा कि आपकी शादी गांव में हुई और बिजनेस को चलाने के लिए शुरू में ज्यादा पैसों की जरूरत होती है।
हाँ जी।
तो आपको पैसे कैसे मिले?
पैसे मेरे को अपनी सेविंग से मिले, जो मैं बचपन से सेविंग करती थी। मैंने उसी सेविंग में से मैंने अपने बच्चों के लिए जमा किए थे कि इन फ्यूचर उनको जरूरत होगी, लेकिन मेरे को ये नहीं पता था वही पैसे मेरे भी काम आ सकते हैं। स्मार्ट पे देखनी है तो स्मार्ट पे है 36, मतलब 400 के करीब थे। अब ये बाकी पेंडिंग बच्चे बाकी निकाल दिए। तो इस पे जनरेट पिक लिस्ट, रेगुलर और सिंगल ऑर्डर। उस दिन बाय चांस मेरे पति का फोन आया था ऑनलाइन, तो मैंने बच्चों को बोला कि तुम लोगों ने ऑनलाइन फोन मंगाया तो क्या हम बेच भी सकते हैं कुछ? तो बच्चे बोले कि मम्मी जब हमने मंगाया है तो वो भी तो बेचते ही होंगे, तभी तो हमारे पास आया है। फिर मैंने हस्बैंड को बोला कि बैग बेचेंगे, बोला ठीक है। तो मैंने घर बैठे ही अपना बिजनेस स्टार्ट किया। एक लाइट घास पट्टी, एक डार्क घास पट्टी, दोनों। फटाफट ले आ। पूजा, तेरा बैंक का काम
कंप्लीट हो गया?
हो गया। अब तो नहीं जाना ना हफ्ते में। जब मैं पहली बार शॉप पे गई तो मैंने उनसे पूछा कि क्या आप ऑनलाइन के लिए बैग दोगे? तो उन्होंने बड़ी रूडली बात की कि नहीं, हम लोग नहीं देंगे, आप जाओ हमारी दुकान से। और कई बार पड़ोस से भी मेरे को निराशा मिली कि भाई मेरे नेबर जो होते थे जैसे निकलती थी तो मेरे साथ की जो बहनें थी वो बोलती थी कल तक तो गोबर उठाती थी, आज ये बैग बेच के दिखाएगी, 2 दिन में नशा उतर जाएगा।
ठीक है, या इसको अल्टा पल्टी कर लिए, जैसा आपका दिल करे
और
मिल जाएगा।
सैंपल नहीं
है, सैंपल ये रहे, देखिए जैसे ये डिजाइन अभी कल ही आया है। लेडीज है, वो उस टाइम काम था, बहुत ज्यादा भीड़ थी, इस वजह से क्या कहते हैं हमने कह दिया कि भाई ये एक 2 पीस लेंगे, एक 2 पीस यहाँ पे मिलता नहीं है, यहाँ बल्क में हम माल बेचते हैं, इस वजह से इनको मना कर दिया। फिर ये सेकंड टाइम फिर आई थी ना भाभी, सेकंड टाइम आई थी आप?
हाँ, सेकंड टाइम
फिर इनको बोला गया जाओ गोडाउन चले जाओ, वहाँ से आप जाकर के माल ले लो जो चाहिए। तो इन्होंने 30-40 पीस निकाला,
40 पीस लिए थे उस टाइम में।
40 पीस लिया था आपने।
मैं भी सोच रही हूँ कि मेरा भी इतना बड़ा वेयर हाउस हो और मैं भी ऐसे रैक वैक फिट करके कम से कम 2 फ्लोर्स पे हो, कि काफी बड़ा हो जाए, आराम से हर काम डिस्प्ले वगैरह हो, कैमरा वैमरा लगवा के पूरा सेटअप करना चाहती हूँ। मैं कम से कम 30-35 लोगों को एम्प्लॉय करना चाहती हूँ कि वो मेरे पास काम कर सके, उनका परिवार आसानी से चल सके, मेरे सहारे किसी और का भी परिवार चल सके। इतना बड़ा तो मेरा ये सपना पता नहीं कब पूरा होगा। अभी कोशिश तो बहुत जल्दी कर रही हूँ कि हो जाए, लेकिन अभी थोड़ा सा पैसे की भी जरूरत होगी, तो अभी बस मन में ही है। अभी देखती हूँ कितने दिन में होता है और कितने दिन में नहीं हो पाता, देखेंगे सब कौन क्या करेगा। आज मेरे को इतना बड़ा मौका मिला कि मैं अपने स्कूल में आई हूँ, आप लोगों के साथ बात कर रही हूँ, तो ये भी मेरी किस्मत है कि मेरे को दोबारा मौका मिला है।
आपने ग्रेजुएशन कंप्लीट करने के बाद भी आपने बिजनेस को ही क्यों चुना?
ग्रेजुएशन करने के बाद मैंने बिजनेस के लिए नहीं सोचा था। मेरे पेरेंट्स ने मेरे को 10वीं कराई, फिर उसके बाद ओपन स्कूल से 12वीं कराई। मेरे हस्बैंड एमए हैं, मैं एक 12वीं क्लास लड़की और वो एक एमए पास किए हुए हस्बैंड थे, तो उनके साथ जाने में मेरे को झिझक महसूस होती थी। कम से कम मैं उस लेवल पे हूँ कि कोई मेरी तरफ ये उंगली उठा के ना कहे कि ये 12th पास लड़की इनकी वाइफ है। मैं नहीं चाहती थी कि मेरी वजह से किसी को शर्मिंदगी हो। यहाँ से मायके में आती थी, मेरे चाचा ताऊ की लड़कियां कॉलेज जाती थी, मैं नहीं जा पाई थी। उस टाइम मेरे दोनों बच्चे हो गए थे, तो वो मेरे को बोलते थे चल तेरे को कॉलेज लेके चलते हैं, तो मैं उनको बोलती थी नहीं तुम लोग जाओ, अब मेरे बच्चे कॉलेज जाएंगे। तो मैं अंदर आके किसी को नहीं बोलती थी कि मैं खुद रोती थी कि मैं आज 12वीं और मैंने ग्रेजुएशन नहीं किया है। तो मैंने अपनी उसी कमी को अपना ग्रेजुएशन कंप्लीट किया था, उसी चीज को कंप्लीट करने के लिए कि मैं अपनी पढ़ाई पे फोकस कर सकूं।
यहाँ तो इसके दादा दादी ने नहीं पढ़ने दिया रितु को, और वहाँ उसकी है ना दादी सास ने नहीं पढ़ने दिया, उसके मरने के बाद ये पढ़ी लिखी है।
पहले स्कूल कॉलेज भी नहीं होते थे, गाँव में होते थे, दूर कोई भेजता नहीं था। मौलाना आजाद मेडिकल इंस्टीट्यूट में मिल रही थी, तो वहाँ उसको जो है दिल्ली है वहाँ भी, लेकिन हमने जो है ना इसका इंटरव्यू आया, लेकिन हमने भेजी नहीं, काम ज्यादा था जी। यहाँ घर पे जमींदार लोग थे ना जी, हम तो ये मैं भी सर्विस करता था, फिर घर पे भी चाहिए जी।
आई जिंदगी होली पार।
पहले लड़कियां स्कूल नहीं जाती थी बेटा, ये उनको सिखा देते थे सिलाई कढ़ाई बुनाई की, कम से कम अपना कुछ कर लेगी। हमारी शादी के कपड़े इन्हीं से बनाते थे, बाहर से आधी शॉपिंग होती थी। अब तो सब कुछ एक से एक अच्छा,
अब तो सब ऑनलाइन ऑर्डर कर
ऑनलाइन ऑर्डर कर।
पैसे हैं जब ऑर्डर करना तो कर दे, जब पैसे ना थे तो क्या ऑर्डर करें। यो भी तो बात थी।
आप पुलिस ऑफिसर बनना चाहते थे?
बनना तो चाहती बेटे, बनन तो नहीं दी किसी ने।
किसने रोक ली?
तेरे नाना ने, सब ने, और पूरे परिवार ने अपनी लाइफ में।
अब मैं भी पुलिस इंस्पेक्टर बनना चाहूँगी, आर्मी या पुलिस में ज्वाइन
करना चाहे। देखो भाई तब बढ़िया तरिया है ना, अपना घी दूध खा दौड़ मार। दौड़ भी तो जरूरी है, सब
दौड़ तो रोज जमा रहो, स्टेडियम जाओ ना।
25 तारीख ने कंपटीशन नहीं का,
बहुत बढ़िया लाग रहा है इनका मने कैन्यूइंग तब है ना मेरी देवती कर रही है काम नातिन मेरी है स्टेडियम में जा है अरे इस तरफ था मेरी लड़की ये अपना है ना सारा वो भूल गई हूँ मैं कहा ये बच्चे तो आगे लिखड़ेंगे देख तू ताल बेटे से दे रही है
ना होता मैं तो
फिर क्या थे
मैं सिलाई सीख ली बस वो होता है
तू भी तनी वे करे आकर थी तो जो माँ करेगी वो ही करेगी हैं
मम्मी ऐसे नहीं थी बिल्कुल चेंज हो गई अब तो लेकिन अब वो समझती हैं कि अगर बच्चे भी कुछ सोचते हैं वो गलत नहीं सोच रहे हैं मम्मी हमेशा मीडियम बनती है हमारा मेरे और मेरे पापा के बीच में वो उनकी ये सोच हो गई है कि हाँ अगर मैं बढ़ सकती हूँ तो हमारे बच्चे भी आगे बढ़ेंगे अगर उन्हें इस काम की वजह से कुछ इज्जत मिली है तो बच्चे भी कुछ करेंगे तो उससे भी इज्जत मिलेगी हमेशा हमें मोटिवेट करती रहती हैं इसी बात के लिए
हमारे अंदर पॉजिटिव एनर्जी होनी चाहिए ना कि हमारे अंदर नेगेटिव में क्या होगा हम आगे बढ़ने के लिए अपने बराबर वाले को धक्का मारते हैं अगर आपको जाना है उसके साइड से क्रॉस करो उसको दिखाओ कि हम आपसे आगे जा सकते हैं
और टर्नओवर कितना है
टर्नओवर हाँ ये भी देखना है
क्या हुआ क्यों हंस रहे हो
वाओ
कितना हो गया
1 करोड़
सच में
हाँ
कॉन्ग्रेचुलेशन
थैंक यू आपकी मेहनत
आपका भी साथ है जो यहाँ तक पहुँचे हैं नहीं तो कहाँ हो पाता इतना अंकु बेटा थोड़े काजू निकाल के दे दो बेटा अब इस पे लिखेंगे हम 1 ये हमारा रेडी हो गया 1 करोड़ का केक मेड बाय रितु कौशिक
देखो 2 माँ बेटी चली खेत में जा 3 नींबू तोड़ के साबुत खा अब ये 3 पीढ़ियां इकट्ठी हो गई माँ बेटी तो 4 बोले जाएंगे लेकिन नींबू 3 ही थे तो तीनों ने कैसे बांट के खाए तो हम दोनों ने खाया और 1 नींबू जो बचा वो अंकिता ने खाया तो ये हमारे में कहावत है जब 3 पीढ़ी इकट्ठी होती है तो ऐसे ही बोलते हैं
रुक जाओ पीछे न करके
वैसे नानी ना होती तो मम्मी नहीं होती
और
मम्मी नहीं होती तो मैं नहीं होती
करते हैं तो बतिया सब क्या है
Thanks, Julia. Thanks, Julia, for sharing that inspirational movie. The movie is an evidence of, there is no bigger barrier where, people are determined they can't cross. And I felt that that was very well reflected in that movie. I do hope that we all come stronger in the second phase of this partnership and reach to newer heights. With this, I'd like to thank all the participants today that have come together and made this collaboration a huge success. So thank you once again all for joining today's call. We look forward towards this partnership. Thank you, everyone.
Thank you. Bye-bye.
Thank you, everyone.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank
Thanks,
you,
everyone.
everyone. Thank you. Bye-bye.